In this video, we will try to answer, to the best of our ability, some of the questions that have presented themselves in the previous two videos. We will be using the Bible as the basis for our answers, and we will provide chapter and verse references so that you may, if you wish, confirm them for yourselves. The purpose of this Q&A session is to try to make sure that the information presented within the previous videos is clear and easy to understand. If there are still some things that you disagree with, or if there are things you would like more clarity on, or if you simply wish to offer your comments, please feel free to do so in the comments section of this video. We ask only that you remain respectful of others. Without further ado, let us begin.
Did God make the world in 6 literal days?
Yes. There are several theories that try to explain the passage of time found in the Bible's creation story. Some have concluded that 6 24-hour days could not explain the amazing depth and breadth of variation that exists in nature. In addition, the results of radioactive dating of rocks seem to suggest that the Earth is millions of years old. However, there are some things we should bear in mind as we read this story. God is the one who made everything that exists. He is described as a being with the ability to do anything. By this fact alone, it would not be impossible for him to create these things in a short time. Also, this story of creation was narrated to the attributed writer of the book of Genesis, a man named Moses. He was not there when the earth was being made. How did he know so much about it? That's because the one who narrated this story to Moses was God himself. Therefore, God is the one who is verifying his own testimony since he was the only one present when the world was made. Thirdly, the people to whom this story was originally told would have similar understandings about the measurement of time. They had their own way of measuring what a day is and had words that they could use to describe the passing of time. Therefore, when the word day is used to describe an evening and morning, they used a word which means a 24-hour cycle.
If there is one God, why does he use singular and plural pronouns to describe himself?
God is a being that is unlike any other in the universe. It is difficult for us to relate to something or someone that is completely different from anything we know. Even though that is so, we need to describe God in the way he has described himself. The word translated God in Genesis is the word Elohim. This is the plural form of the word Eloha. Though Elohim can be used to refer to people with authority or those who seem to have a kind of divine power, it is most used to refer exclusively to the Creator God, which is why we use a capital G to make the distinction clear. Moreover, in Hebrew, which is the language that this story was originally written in, there are several ways to identify the number of a noun. There is the singular, a single noun, dual, 2 of the same noun, or plural, 3 or more. So based on how God describes himself, we can conclude that God is somehow a plural being, with 3 or more persons, that is still somehow one being.
If there was no sun or stars until day 4, how did the world have light?
Once again, we turn to the Hebrew language to try to get some understanding of how this could be possible. The Hebrew word for light is or. This can be used to mean the brightness of the day, the light we receive from the sun and stars, and a kind of symbolic light like happiness, joy, etc. It is this word that is used when God created day and night on the first day. However, when he created the sun, moon, and stars on day 4, the word used here to describe the light produced by them is ma'or. This word is used to identify light which is produced by an object. It is also important to note that the reason God created these celestial bodies was so that the humans that he would make later, on day 6, would be able to tell time. If there were no way to measure the intensity of light and the transition between day and night, telling time would be difficult, if not impossible, especially in the ancient world where they did not have the modern tools we have today. Therefore, the source of light producing day is distinguished from the lights coming from the sun and stars. The Bible does not give any more details than this.
Where did the serpent that tempted Eve come from?
The Bible says that God created everything that exists. That would also include this serpent. We do not know what the serpent looked like because there are no details given to us about that. We also do not know why this serpent could talk. However, there is another being, called Satan, who is often described as being a dragon or a serpent. Usually, these descriptions refer to his personality rather than his physical appearance. He is described as cunning and deceitful. This Satan rebelled against God and was exiled from heaven. Christians believe that it was this being who used the serpent to deceive Eve.
Where did evil come from, and did God create it? What is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil?
This is one of the most difficult philosophical questions to answer. God created everything. Surely this would also include evil. If we are to answer this question, we must try to define what evil is. We can do that by understanding who God is. We described God as being a perfect being in nature and character. He is the ultimate source of good. Evil, then, can be defined as anything which opposes such goodness. We saw how this evil entered our world through the disobedience of Adam and Eve. We defined this evil as sin. However, as to the origin of evil and why the tree of the knowledge of good and evil were made, the Bible offers no clear answers. This is what the Bible wants us to understand about the nature of evil. 1. Evil exists. 2. God is not evil. 3. We can choose to do good or to do evil. 4. Any choice that we make that goes against what God has defined as good is evil. 5. When we sin, others are affected too.
How can the entire human race be created from just one man and one woman?
When God made the first plants and animals, they reproduced according to their own kinds, men in Hebrew. This word means according to the same manner or species. What this means then is that in the original parental species that God made was all the material needed to produce variants according to the same kind. The same goes for humans, too. Science bears this out quite well, too. In recent years, we have discovered the blueprint of life DNA. DNA produces genes, which are transferred from one generation to another, producing variants of the same species. We also know that genetic material can alter itself based on mutations within the code, causing information to be conserved or lost, but that new variants are not created, meaning we do not observe snails, giving rise to dinosaurs, or the other way around. Snails produce other varieties of snails, roses produce other roses, and so on. God created Adam and Eve with perfect DNA, containing all the information necessary to produce offspring of other varieties according to the same kind. This includes, but is not limited to, eye color, skin color, and height. They had extremely long lifespans, and during that time, they had many children, who themselves had many more. As human beings spread all over the earth, their DNA mutated according to environmental conditions, producing the seemingly different varieties of human we see today. This was confirmed by the results of the Human Genome Project completed in 2003, which shows that regardless of external features, all humans possess the same basic information within their DNA.
Why should I trust the Bible?
The Bible makes very bold claims about the origin of the universe, the existence of God, the state of mankind, and so on. It claims to be the objective truth, inspired by God Himself. This puts a huge burden of proof upon it. If it is falsified, then by the principles of deductive reasoning, it is only logical to reject its claims. If, however, it can be verified, then this strengthens its claims. From the short portion we have covered in our videos, we have seen how every detail that the Bible gives thus far have been verified through even the most casual of observations and borne out by the strictest scientific experiments. If then, the simpler things have been shown to be true, then we can have great confidence in those things which seem fantastical. This does not mean, however, that we depend on science to defend the Bible or to verify it. Science, limited as it is, only proves what the Bible has been saying all along.
How is the Bible standard of morality fair, and why is it better than other standards of morality?
The Bible tells the truth about the human state. It makes no distinctions in wealth, gender, or social standing when it comes to talking about morality. Every human is held to a reliable and unbiased standard. The truths found within the Bible are timeless and can be applied regardless of which age or society we live in. Thank you for watching. In our next video, we will look at how God fixes the problem of sin. I hope you will look forward to it. Until then, be well.